Alright, hey everybody, it is Tony and I am back. I have 4 TTMs for you on this Wednesday, and we're going to get started with my most interesting return ever, and it comes from Robert Banks. Not because of who he is, but because he signed the front of the card twice for me. He also signed the back of the card for me, and he signed my index card 3 times. All my index card is my note, and he signed it 3 times. I had never had that happen before, where somebody signed their card twice and signed the index card 3 times. Well, signed the card three times as well, once on the back. So cool that he signed the card so many times. Just a little interesting. Now it's on to my next TTM, and it comes from Paul Fela. Paul Fela was a backup quarterback with the Fighting Irish for 3 seasons. Then he decided to hang up his football career and focus more on his baseball career. Made it as far as high A within the Angels system. Played with Cedar Rapids, which happens to be the same team that Mike Trout played for, too. Obviously at different times. But Paul Fela was... interesting story that he had. His dad was the Pirates team doctor, and Paul Fela got personal instruction from Willie Stargell. Willie Stargell used to throw him batting practice at Three River Stadium, and would teach him some ins and outs of playing the game. And then he also said in a story that he got hurt in high school and was kind of feeling down about himself, and because his dad was a team doctor with the Pirates, he called Andy Van Slyke, and Andy Van Slyke decided to show up at the house in a Porsche and drove young Paul Fela all around Pittsburgh in a Porsche. You know, when you're like 16, 17 years old and you're riding around with Andy Van Slyke in a Porsche, I bet that would make anybody feel better. And he also signed a ticket stub for me from his only start at Notre Dame, which was really awesome as well. Now it is on to my next TTM, and it comes from Devon McDonald. Devon McDonald also signed a ticket stub for me, and I have all these Notre Dame ticket stubs, not because I went to these games. My mom was a manager for bed and breakfast in South Bend, and the people who stayed there would just leave their ticket stubs. And so my mom decided to pick up these ticket stubs, asked me if I wanted them, and said sure. I didn't know what to do with them for years and years and years. And then once I started doing some TTMing, I thought, wow, I think it would be good to get these ticket stubs signed. They look good getting signed, and they're just an awesome piece, especially as a Notre Dame fan, to get these signed, like the Paul Fela one. It was his only start. Devon McDonald, his senior day. And it was also the famous Snow Bowl against Penn State as well. So really awesome to get that one back from Devon McDonald. And a real quick note about Devon McDonald, about his biggest game at Notre Dame, his self-proclaimed biggest game at Notre Dame, the 18 tackles against Michigan. He said, "I hated Michigan. I hated those helmets. Those were some ugly helmets." Amen, brother. And I think every Ohio State fan agrees with you too. And it's on to my final TTM, and it comes from Dan McGinn. I did not know that he went to Notre Dame. I've had this card for a while, and then I just stumbled across his name, and I said, I have that card. So I looked to see if he did TTM, and he sure does. Dan was committed to go to his home state, the University of Nebraska, and then during the Nebraska high school all-star football game, Notre Dame started talking to him, and then he went to South Bend on a recruiting visit, fell in love with the campus, and decided that he was going to be a quarterback at Notre Dame. The only thing was that there was a Heisman Trophy winner in front of him, John Hewitt, and he went to backup, and then he decided that playing quarterback probably wasn't the best option for him, so he punted. He played tight end, he played receiver, he played running back, and then he also pitched a little bit at Notre Dame, and that's where he ended up favoring his career and went on to have a semi-decent relieving career with 3 major league teams. During his first season, as you can see, he faced Willie Stargell coming out of the bullpen with 2 on and 1 out. And Johnny Bench came to visit him on the bump right before Willie Stargell came to bat. And according to Dan McGinn in his Sabre stories, Johnny Bench simply said, "You're in trouble, pal." And then he ended up striking him out. Just a quick side note on Dan McGinn. He is actually the first reliever in Expos history. So cool note, if you're into Expos history, Dan McGinn is probably a guy that you would want to get as being the first reliever in team history. So that is all I have for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Be good to each other.